the box set for the vinyl release of the complete recordings of Howard Shore's score for The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and Return of the King. Arguably the current jewel in the crown of my record collection. Each box set contained 1/3 of a map of Middle-earth, a booklet of linear notes, 5 records pressed on color-coordinated vinyl for each release. The boxes themselves are made of relatively high-quality, heavy-duty material and are designed to make them look a little bit like oddly dimensioned books with faux leather binding on the spines. And aren't they just fucking beautiful? Good morning. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day as always. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about these, the pride and joy of my record collection. As I've mentioned before, and as most of you probably know if you follow my Instagram, I am a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings. And just to piss off anyone I didn't piss off in the last video I made about this, I hate The Hobbit. I'm not talking about the book. The book is great. I'm talking about Peter Jackson's terrible film adaptations of the book. I'm not being totally serious. I mean, if you like The Hobbit, that's fine. I don't really care. I just personally think it's trash. Also, I do just want to say one quick thing before I start talking about them. So if you want to skip over that, I'll put timecode down there. So just go to that part of the video if you don't want to hear what I'm about to say. Thank you so much for your support and your generosity in my Kickstarter campaign to get Her pressed on vinyl. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I recently released my debut EP, Her, which is a collection of 4 instrumental tracks that I wrote and produced, and it's always been a major goal and aspiration of mine to get some of my own music pressed on vinyl, and I created this Kickstarter, and so many of you have been so generous, like way more generous than I thought that anyone would be. We're over halfway to the goal, and it's been 1 week, and it's something that, like I said in my video last week, I didn't actually think would be possible, and now my brain is like flirting with the idea of, oh, actually, maybe this could be a thing and could happen, and it'd be amazing if it does. So thank you all so much, like sincerely. Even if you've just tweeted about it or mentioned it on Instagram, thank you so much. I really think that this could be a possibility now. So yeah, if you want to pledge, then there'll be a link in the description to the Kickstarter campaign. And if you want to listen to the EP, if you haven't heard it already, there'll be links down there as well to the Spotify and the iTunes. And it's available on all major streaming platforms as well. So thank you so much. Let's get on with this video. So finally, the whole trilogy of these vinyl releases is out, and I'm really glad that they are, although I must say they came out a little faster than my bank account was quite ready to deal with. But yeah, the trilogy is here, and don't they look so sexy all next to each other like that? A little part of me is kind of amazed that there wasn't a vinyl pressing of this score sooner, because Lord of the Rings has always been one of my favorite scores of all time, and from the very first days of me collecting and buying vinyl records, I would be on the lookout for a pressing of this score. Every sort of 6 months I would check as the vinyl resurgence gained more and more momentum. I just kept thinking, surely they must do this soon, and they finally did, and they did it in a better format than I could have imagined. So, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first one that came out, I've already done a video unboxing and going through the contents of this. That'll be linked in the description if you want to watch it, so I don't really need to talk much about this, although I will just demonstrate again the absolutely gorgeous red color of these vinyl. In terms of the general contents of each box set, it's going to be identical for all 3 of them. So The Two Towers, let's open this up. And I was actually wondering, does anyone else, if you've bought these records, keep these stickers off the front? Like, these were attached to the plastic, and for some reason I kind of thought, for the sake of keeping every aspect of the box set in one place, I kind of just tore this off and kept it. I don't know if I need it or not, but yeah, I've kept that anyway. And then this is the track list off the back. Now, one thing that they got wrong when they made these box sets, these arrive with this attached to the back of the record like that, with a little dab of glue. But that glue can be a little bit tricky. On my Fellowship of the Ring vinyl, I actually ended up taking a little bit off the artwork on the back of here because of the glue. I might be being majorly nitpicky there, but I feel like for something of this sort of quality, collectability, and cost, they should have really made sure that the glue wasn't going to do that. So for the other 2, I was especially careful and slow when I took it off to try and make sure that that didn't happen again. Anyway, track listing and credits, which is also listed there, which kind of makes it more frustrating that they just include this because it just seems so unnecessary. But anyway, yeah. Track listing and credits there, and then this is the booklet of linear notes. These are both wonderful to look at in terms of some of the images that they put in there, and they're also fascinating to read about because a lot of this is directly from Howard Shore's notes on the score itself, and it's just really interesting to read and understand a bit more about the depth of what goes into creating a score of this scale. It also provides you with a bit more information about the more unconventional instruments used in the score, information about the performers and the conducting of it, and it's just really good thing to include. This is the kind of additional content that I really value in vinyl and why I'll keep buying it. Next, you've got the middle section of the map of Middle Earth, and I've probably mentioned this in the first video, but really nice high quality card on this. I kind of want to get a frame that will fit all three next to each other, but with a little gap in between them because it's just a bit more arty, isn't it? And then you've got the records themselves, and this is the same with all of them. They have this really useful little pull tag there, so you don't have to worry about trying to claw the records out or damaging them at all. You can just gently lift them out of the case. And as I expected, the box sets and the vinyl themselves are color coordinated to the film that they belong to. So the Fellowship are red and the Two Towers are blue. And what a gorgeous blue it is. So that's the 5 LP box set of the complete recordings of the Two Towers, which brings us to the Return of the King, the last in the trilogy. And what a wonderful color green this is. I mean, I know that these colors are the same as like the extended edition DVDs were when they came out, and this isn't a color scheme that hasn't been used before, but for some reason seeing it that size and on good quality material is just wonderful. And I've said this before about vinyl, but what I like about it is it makes album artwork important again, and it means that you're not just looking at like a tiny JPEG image on an iPhone screen or even a CD. You know, that's the size that artwork is supposed to look for an album, and even though this wasn't originally album art, it just looks f***ing beautiful and I love it. One thing I will complain about, which is probably just because I'm a bit of a snobby posh twat, is that it's not real leather on the outside. I would have loved it if it had actually been like a leather bound spine. I think that would have been incredible and just added another layer of distinction to these box sets. Anyway, Return of the King, same as before. Keep the little sticker. And do you know what? It feels a little bit like for this box set, they actually put like a magnet in this, because there's a little bit of resistance when opening the case that you don't feel with the other two, which is interesting. Yeah, maybe they just up their game a bit and put a little magnet in there to help keep it closed. Or maybe the first two I have defective magnets in them, but either way, it's a nice touch. Again, you've got your kind of superfluous track listing, your book of linear notes. Who mixed this? I bet it was Alan Mayerson. No, Peter Cobbin mixed this apparently. Or was it Cobbin? I don't know. And the final piece of the Middle Earth map. Useful pull tag there to get the records out, and these ones are green. Now, a small part of me was slightly, not disappointed, but just surprised at the color choice for these, because as you can see from that, it's a nice green, but it's just a bit of a darker, murkier green than I thought it would, considering how vibrant the red and the blue were from the first two. I was expecting this to just be a little bit brighter, but at the same time, I think it works for the general tone of the film, and I really like this color. I mean, it's matching my jumper, isn't it? So that is what the record looks like for the Return of the King complete recordings, and there are 6 of these instead of 5 for the previous 2, which makes sense because there will have been a lot more music written for the third film because it's the longest. And again, just look at how beautiful these spines are. So there you have it, the complete recordings of The Lord of the Rings by Howard Shore on vinyl. It's a collection I shall no doubt treasure for many years to come. And the only thing I guess I could say that has irritated me in the process of accumulating this collection is prices have been all over the place, and really annoyingly so, because right now if I went on Amazon, I think they're less than they were when I bought them, and I pre-ordered them all. They were always cheaper in America, but if I ordered them from there, I'd have to pay import tax and additional shipping to the UK, so it would end up being the same price as pre-ordering it from the UK. And when The Return of the King was first announced in the UK, its pre-order price was like £270, which was just ridiculous. But then the pre-order price dropped. But now, if you go on there, I think it's 141, which just fucks me off a little bit. I kind of feel like I pre-ordered it, and the pre-order price should be the lowest price you're going to get. But what can you do? There's no sense complaining about it, I suppose. I've got all the records now, and that's what matters. Although at one point I can remember seeing that the Fellowship had gone up to being like £400 for a used one, so they must have run out of stock but then got more stock, but I don't know, because they're all limited edition. Fellowship of the Ring was limited to 5,000 and mine is number 3,187. Two Towers and Return of the King were both limited to 8,000 and I have number 3,603 in the Two Towers and 5,113 for Return of the King. But yeah, those are the box sets. I just need to find an appropriate time to listen to them all the way through now. I hope that doesn't annoy people that I haven't listened to them yet, but it's such fantastic music and such specific music that it's not the kind of thing that I would just casually sit at home and be like, oh yeah, I'll put on Lord of the Rings. There are certain people that I know that I have to listen to it for the first time with, and certain environments that I feel I would need to be in psychologically. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing that for the first time, and I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see when that happens. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that you've enjoyed this, and thank you again for those who've contributed to the Kickstarter to get my debut EP, Her, pressed on vinyl. It's so cool and really, truly heartwarming and humbling. I don't want to say humbling, that's what everyone says whenever something good happens to them. It's like, oh, I'm so humbled by this. Anyway, it is humbling, I guess, but no, thank you so much. Like I said, links to everything I've spoken about are in the description. So there's the Kickstarter, iTunes, Spotify links for my new EP, the unboxing video that I did for the Fellowship of the Ring, complete recordings. Thank you so much for watching. Here are some more focus pulley, slow rotational shots of the box sets for your enjoyment. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you very soon.